gives me this countdown, and I
Mm-hmm.
feel a lot of pressure to say something interesting and whatever in the cold open, and sometimes it's too much pressure, man. So yeah,
Sometimes.
on my end, what I see with you, I can hardly recognize you. Your internet is Courtney home playing GTA 5? I mean, what's going on?
No, nobody's downloading an entire Netflix library to my knowledge. Let's see,
Maybe it's
how's it
just
looking live?
yeah. We'll see. Can you see the output? As
Yeah,
long
I
as it
can
looks
see the
good
output, and it
on the
looks
other
it's
side.
it's a little foggy, I can tell. I don't know what's going on, man. This is
Yeah, well,
weird.
right at the beginning there, you were 8-bit, bro. It was 8-bit CJ.
Coming at you live from 1996.
Yes. Well, speaking of live, let's roll the intro and start some talking weather for Thursday, March the 6th.
Let's do it. Hey,
Howdy,
good
howdy,
morning.
howdy, as Woody said in Toy Story 1. Good to see everybody. Mark Sudduth here, Wilmington, North Carolina. There's CJ. Your internet's looking better, my friend. Good.
Yeah, see,
You
there you go.
had to
I
tighten
think
the
AT&T is
fiber.
just messing with you, man.
Sure. Hey, you never know. At least we stopped that 10:15 blackout thing that was happening.
Knock on
That
wood.
was weird when we switched over to Restream, but
Right.
good to see everybody. Kind of a serious day here. Not that we
Yep.
don't take the weather seriously, but pretty big severe weather issues, and we're going to talk about
Yep.
that amongst other things. But it is Thursday, the 6th day of March, 2026.
Yep.
And again, I'm Mark. That's CJ. Good to have you with us, everybody. Let's just jump right into it and talk about what we're going to talk about for today. And to do that, we'll get the old screen sharing process going. And there's our bullet points. Severe weather making news.
Yep.
Definitely. And one thing I'm going to try for tomorrow, because tomorrow is going to be the bigger day of the week for severe weather, is get a couple people to come on and talk about it with us. I'm hoping to get somebody from Fox Weather to talk about how they get ready. That would be pretty cool. There's a few people.
Yeah, it'd be awesome.
Too. Yep.
Some behind the scenes.
Yeah. And some of the chasers that are going to be out there. Yep. If they're not sleeping in at 9 Central, which is where they will be, maybe they can join us. Typically, severe weather doesn't get going until later in the day. So a lot of storm chasers, they sleep in. And I can't blame you. Unless you have 14 hours of driving to do, like CJ and I had to do that one time from Parker, Colorado to Bumblebleep, Texas, wherever the heck that was. Anyway.
Yeah, it's called being very out of position.
Yeah, and very desperate for some severe weather, apparently. Anyway, so yeah, we'll talk about severe weather making the news because it already has, and it continues to look to be like it will do so in the future, right? Melissa got retired. The name, and I'm probably pretty sure that there's some Melissa somewhere that retired yesterday in the real world, but the rotating list of names, Melissa got yanked out of there for good reason. And we're going to take a look at a top 10 list of suggested replacement names that got rejected by the World Meteorological Organization. A throwback, since it is Throwback Thursday, to the days of David Letterman. Remember his top 10 list, CJ?
Yep, I do.
Right.
I do.
Flooding in Dallas-Fort Worth, that's related to the severe weather making news. Flooding is part of severe weather. It's not just the tornadoes and the big hailstones. Water, if I remember correctly, covers a good chunk of the earth, and it made the Grand Canyon and all sorts of other things. And it's even, when something's mentioned in biblical times, and water certainly was with a certain guy and a bunch of animals, it's a big deal. So
rain is an impact.
Yes, rain is an impact. Checking in with Jen. We'll find out where Jen Naramore is today. I have no idea. And she's doing a terrific job chronicling tornado history, especially the deaths that have occurred. And we want that number. We want Jen to retire.
Yeah.
At some point and say, I'm done. She's cataloged everything. 22,000 and something people have lost their lives over the decades. We'll let her talk about that more, but it is Thursday. It's time to check in with her. And I got a good Throwback Thursday for you folks. You'll like this one. Mark and CJ accidentally drove near a tornado way back in 2024. Sort of. We'll explain. All right. So Rio Grande Village just won't let go.
No.
You got to give it up, people. Although the temperatures have been going down. We started at 106.
Yeah, it is interesting.
100, now it's 93. But we have shifted, and I thought this was going to start happening. We have shifted the national low temperature from the border states back down to Peter Sinks, Utah. And again, if you're brand new to this, or you hadn't seen this segment, or you missed it when we did Peter Sinks before, I will explain when we get into the Google Street View why that is geographically relevant and how geography and meteorology come together and give us something to talk about, really, because it is talking weather. So there you go. So first of all, Rio Grande Village, this is 4 in a row at least, certainly this week. And it's really hot down there. And that's part of the overall pattern. Rio Grande Village, part of the Big Bend National Park area, a beautiful area of Texas, according to the Google Street Views and the little pictures and everything. And we've looked at it a few times. So in order to keep, there's a gnat in here still. Not seeing things, and Mark's not going crazy. I tell you, we'd have these geckos on the other side of the office that I keep for my son, and they have a water basin for them to keep, hydrated. And the little gnats like to breed in there, and occasionally there's one or two that flies around the office. Drives me batty. Anyway, you know what? We won't break precedent. Let's always show something with the Google Street View person. So Big Bend National Park, Rio Grande Village area. Let's look near San Vicente. All right, let's just drop it in here. There we go. I knew we could come up with something clever. How about that? The Google Street View person stopped to do some fishing, CJ.
Right.
October of 2024. That's really weird. Like, what is happening? Well, I guess somebody took an Insta 360 out there or something. Like, what is even going on? What a weird. This is not exactly what I thought would happen, but this is where it was 101 a few days ago, 93 yesterday, down in the Big Bend area of Texas, where all the heat is emanating from down there in Mexico, streaming north. And that's part of the severe weather setup, the thermodynamics. You got to have heat, and that helps to make the atmosphere buoyant, among other ingredients. Right. So it is relevant. It's not just because I like this segment. There's a point to it. All that warm air streaming north is going to get into the southern plains, and that's going to help to fuel what we have today. I'll draw on it real quick for you. With our severe weather setup, the enhanced risk roughly in here today, that's all related, and we'll get to it as we go forward. Yep. Peter Sinks, Utah at -11, I think is what it said. And again, let's just click on this Google picture here. That's what it looks like when it's cold, like it was yesterday. That does appear to be the station that is out there. We haven't found it on our Street View journeys just yet, but there's an automatic weather station sitting out there with a nice little anemometer and some solar panels, and I guess it's got a radio transmitter or maybe satellite, who knows. And the reason that it is like this out there is because if we drag our Google Street View person right there, we've done this a few times, but let me explain it again. It's a bowl. It's a seat, literally, and that cold air will settle in and sort of pile up like molasses down here, and it just sits there, and it gets nasty cold. I mean, minus 11, that's too much for me. Yep. But this is easily explainable, not surprising, and I think we're going to see Peter Sink showing up quite a few more times before we are finally done with very cold. But on the map thing that we got here, we'll do this all year. Every day we do the show. I like to catch the national high and low. And eventually we're going to get out of the negative numbers, and we'll start to see where do these lows start to happen. A lot of them are going to be in the Rockies. Eventually probably see some in the Appalachians again. But for now, the high temperatures are happening near the border down there near Mexico, the low up here at Peter Sinks in Utah. All right. This was kind of odd. I wasn't sure what to make of this. There are no temperatures further apart than 55 in March and 55 in September. So explain it to me, please, CJ.
So it's all relative, right? Because our bodies adapt to the ambient temperature. So when you walk outside in March and it's 55 degrees, man, you're in shorts, a t-shirt, it feels great. But that first 55 in September, man, you're in jackets, jeans, you're freezing, shivering.
Okay, this is what Jamoke Komalafe said, or however you say that. 55 in March feels like a heat wave. Okay, now I understand.
I will submit 70 in December versus 70 in August
as
a counter.
Right, you can change the numbers around, and that makes sense.
But yeah, I know that was one of the things we looked forward to when I was growing up in Western Pennsylvania. At first day into the 50s, in March. Oh,
well, I am definitely one of those ones that gets made fun of for wearing the shorts when it's 30s, 40s, and 50s. It just takes a lot to get to me. And even, when it's a little windy, no big deal. That's just me. However, I do agree with the 55 in September part because it's been so warm and toasty, and I'm a warm season guy.
Same.
I like convection. I like all the stuff that goes with the warm weather, of course. And when it does, you get that 55-degree morning in September, it's depressing to me. Because I like the convective season. That's just me. Right. So, all right, now I understand. All right, so still getting the pollen worked out of my system, or maybe not, because we're just getting started, or I'm getting used to it.
Yeah.
And my brain was a little slow. The brain cells bumping into pollen grains, it just doesn't work. Okay, so big news yesterday out of the the WMO, the World Meteorological Organization. They went down and they had a vote and they talked about it and did all this stuff. And of course, we all knew it was coming. Melissa replaced with Molly 60 years down the road. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, we used 21 letters out of the 26 possible of the alphabet. We do not use Q, U, X, Y, and Z. And the different names on the Atlantic Basin list represent the nationalities of the Atlantic Basin. So you have the occasional Georges, which is like a French pronunciation, not Georges. Okay, you have Isaias, and you have, you think about in the past, we've Dolly, I think, still on there. We had Barry, some typical American names. Molly is the one that's going to replace Melissa. Melissa killed 90 plus in Jamaica, of course, $12+ billion, if that was in US dollars, and 57% of Jamaica's entire GDP. Yikes. That's
insane.
So they go down and they vote on this, depending on where the WMO meets, whatever. And Melissa has been replaced with Molly. Here's Derek Sibley's take on it. By the way, I've watched Derek grow up, go through school. Now he's a meteorologist at WDSU. How many lads have I seen do that? Zach Fradella, Dylan Federico. It's like the older I get, the older you fellas get. What's up with that? That's weird how that works.
Right.
But Derek too, talking about this, and yeah, it made pretty good news. So, or big news. I won't say it's good news because it takes a pretty nasty event to get retired. So I wanted to throw a little bit of humor in there. Top 10 replacement names for Melissa. These are the ones that the WMO may or may not have rejected. I wasn't there, so I don't know for sure, right? Marge.
Right.
They talked about that. Nah, we can't use Marge. Mandy. Nope, Mandy got striked, whatever, off the list. Stricken. Mallory. Now, Mallory is my daughter's name. I would have voted for Mallory. Dan Brown at the National Hurricane Center, his daughter's name is Mallory. So, all right. Morwenna. That's an interesting one. And I looked that one up on the Chat GPT. And let me tell you what it said about Morwenna. This was interesting. It's a Cornish name meaning maiden of the sea. So that one actually would be
that
pretty
doesn't
good.
surprise me. That's very similar to my last name, which apparently originates from Irish, and it means of or by the sea.
Oh, okay.
So,
Morgan.
Yeah.
Interesting. I did not know that.
Yeah.
All right.
Morgan.
Michaela didn't make it. Mary Beth. I knew a Mary Beth when I was in
I have an Aunt Mary
grade
Beth.
school. Mildred and Millie and Minerva. Those are names from yesteryear, I guess you could say.
I would have voted for Minerva. Come on, we got to have a Hurricane McGonagall for all of my Harry Potter fans out there.
There you go. And the number one name that didn't quite make the list, Molly obviously won. These are the ones that didn't make it, right? The number one was Maleficent.
Really?
Yeah.
That's okay. I could see it. I'd be here for it. We have a Hurricane Elsa.
Right, exactly. Right. So Disney could really get in on this. I think Iger's retiring again.
Yeah.
And whoever's going to take his place, they could really work with the meteorological community and let's go all Disney on this. Then we can get, Hurricane Mandalorian and Hurricane Grogu and Grok. Actually, we already have that. That's from no, that's Groot. Sorry.
Groot.
Grok. I got the Twitter. See, Elon's getting to me already. It's Groot, Mark. You blew that joke. Anyway, these are the top 10 that did not make it, and it is, in fact, going to be
Maleficent,
Molly. Maleficent. All right. Well, I mean, people have joked over the years. You get names like Hugo, Hugo and Harvey, and people don't take those seriously. I've seen a couple comedians try to approach it that you can get some pretty sort of gangsta names or whatever. Maybe people would pay more attention. I don't know. So Maleficent, sorry, it got close. I hear. Again, I wasn't there, so I can't tell you for sure. All right, let's jump over to the banter and the chat and see.
We're getting some good names here. I like Hurricane Scrooge McDuck.
Hurricane Baloo. Bilbo. We could get New Line Cinema and Peter Jackson to compete, and we could get some Lord of the. That's what we should do. Each year's list should have a theme to it. You could have a Breaking Bad list. You got your Walt. If you get all the way down to the W's, you could do Jesse and Pinkman. That would work. Skylar could be in there. Huel for the H name. I mean, we could really do a lot with this if you want to get more people paying attention. But I don't think that's the problem. I think people are doing a good job. This is just a little lighthearted stuff to start off because we do have a lot to talk about today that is quite serious. And we have Alexis's Storm Watching channel. Good to see you. Good morning again from the UK. We got quite a few people from the UK that tune in. I'm watching 10 miles from the original town of Boston. Is it still possible that a moderate threat could be issued for the 6th coming up tomorrow? Great question. We will get to that. I like that.
All right. I saw we had somebody in here watching from the Netherlands. So
terrific. Welcome. Excellent. Good to have everybody. Let's move forward with today's topics at hand. All right. So next up, we have, what do we have? I already went through all this. So related to one of the bullet points here, flooding in the DFW area. This is from Chase with Ham. Saw this on the Twitter algorithm. and this is some flooding that took place. Yikes. This
Yeah,
is
I saw it
all
was quite
the
a mess there on I-35 and I-30 and I-20. I mean, it's always a mess in the Metroplex
sure.
when it comes to traffic, but this just, I mean, Mark, we've driven through it when it's like
Yes, we
this. It's
have.
not fun.
Something is happening, I think was
Yeah.
the expression that got tossed out there.
Oh,
So the post is severe storms and heavy rain are causing major traffic delays and flooded roads across Dallas County. Already seeing stranded vehicles like this one. Please watch out. You may or may not realize. You may not realize how deep it is until you're stuck. Turn around, don't drown. Always good advice. But this shows you. Look, I get it. The tornadoes are what draws the eyeballs when they are
right.
happening. But the flooding is what draws the eyeballs later because people go, dang, I didn't realize it was that bad. And that's what we're here to do, is to show you all
Exactly.
these hazards are possible. All right.
Hey, Mark,
Another
before we
one?
go further, you might want to
Yes,
make
sir.
sure we're both on screen again.
Did I mess that up again?
Maybe.
So can I just go back down to this
Yep.
and
Hit the
do that?
little, you can do the one to the left of that. That seems to make the screen bigger. There you
Right.
go. Now
That's
we're
right.
good.
All right.
There we go.
Again, got to be careful with that infinity thing, because I'm telling you,
Mm-hmm.
if you've ever done the Guardians of the Galaxy rewind at Epcot, that's how they do that. They figured out how to do that jump back to the beginning of the universe. That's exactly what happens there in their plot. And they're doing it with that infinity thing in computers. I'm kidding, of course, because people are going to start taking me seriously, because I am an expert on some things. But anyway,
Right.
thank you, CJ. We're back on track so people can see us and not just hear us.
Yeah.
Okay, so flooding, really cool instance of a traffic camera capturing a tornado.
Yeah, I saw this last night too. Some people were tweeting it live. You had that's Interstate 35E there in the Metroplex, and that's definitely a tornado.
There you go. We've probably seen that water tower a couple times, you and me driving
Yeah.
to and fro the Waco area. Because
Mhm.
35E have 35W, right? I'm starting to learn
Mhm.
these things. But yeah, there was this is what we were talking about the other day. Explain that radar real quick for us, CJ. We got two panels. What do we
Yeah,
got?
it's funny because this is so low level that the rotation, it's evident, but you're closer to the radar, so obviously everything looks good. So on the
Sure.
right,
That
you
was
got
easy.
you got that perfect vorticity right there. I think it looks right above Ovilla. I mean, there's two areas that I could say could be, but it
Right.
looks like based on the reflectivity, your hook is right over that little town of Ovilla, and you got that nice gate to gate shear. It's a little broad, not as intense as I thought it would be. Um, but yeah, that moved on up to the north and the east, and it looked like a tornado. I haven't seen anything from the National Weather Service in Dallas yet today on, I'm assuming they're going to get out there, they're going to survey it.
Little bit of a hook echo to it
Yep.
yesterday.
And that's what I'm kind of looking for. And that's where, that hook kind of matches up with that little gate to gate shear there.
Right.
Like I said, not too intense, but
Doesn't
didn't
matter,
really need it.
right? Tornado's a tornado. If that crosses over
Mhm.
you, and it can be very brief, 30,
Yeah.
45 seconds, couple minutes, whatever. But yeah, people were watching this. In fact, I think there's a Twitter account or a website about
Something like that.
like live traffic cams chasing or something like that, where
Right.
people literally chase storms using traffic cams. That's pretty
Yeah,
clever, if you
it
ask
is.
me. All right. Also had some hail. David Alford.
Wow.
And where is David? Let's hope this. It doesn't say exactly. Impulse Weather, a YouTube creator. So you can
He
probably find
says,
some cool stuff from David on the YouTubes.
yep, 5 different
Um,
rounds of hail in Toe, Texas.
Oh yeah,
Where
there it
the
is
heck
in the
that?
tweet, Mark. Of course. Toe, Texas. So in just 45 minutes. So here's some different shots. See that hail? There's the lightning.
Mhm.
So yeah, severe weather was active yesterday. Today going to be even more so. And back to the flooding thing, I want to show you all this
Wow.
again to remind you, this is a big problem. The water that we have to deal with, again, it's essential to
Yeah.
life. But dude, it can be really problematic. And this post from Ben, reports of water rescues in parts of the Midwest signal an increasingly moisture-laden pattern that will build
Mhm.
into next week. A plume next week looks more significant than the current one. So there's
Right.
more flooding. There's likely more flooding to come. flows are tracking from the Caribbean Sea. And his
Right.
map making, like basically an animated infographic. Come on. This
Yeah,
stuff
I
is
love his stuff. He gets some of the best infographics.
but you can see the Caribbean gets tapped, and not
Mm-hmm.
quite your atmospheric river necessarily, but
No,
a
but
steady
it's
stream of moisture fueling the storms. So be flood aware. We're not just looking out for the tornadoes. You got to watch the flooding.
yep.
Water is denser than the air we breathe, so just keep that in mind. It can float your car, it can drown you. You have to be careful with it, and that is part of the elements that we have to keep up with. All right, so this was a little bothersome to me. This is not good. We keep coming back to this. The problems we're going to see later in the year out west, especially with this El Nino coming. I'm telling you, folks, mark it down. I think I'm going to get this one right. I've been watching it long enough, and it's kind of easy to see if you think about it. It has been so very dry, snowpack wise, especially in parts of the Rockies, Intermountain West, as we call it. California has had a pretty good dose of snow lately. However, let's look at this pretty long post here from Mr. McCarthy again. This has been one of the warmest winters in recorded history for California. Tahoe City saw its third warmest winter since records began in 1910, and temperatures across the Sierra have been record warm. Storms have been, this is very important right here. This is, I think, the most uber important of the paragraphs. Storms have simply been too warm this winter, leading to high snow levels and rain falling instead of snow. Long stretches of record warm weather have also caused the snowpack to decrease in the middle of winter. And he goes on to have some stats and whatnot. But here are a couple of different shots of how the Sierra has changed over time. I'm going to show you another post in just a second where it's even more pronounced, and that is this one here. 2 weeks ago, 4 to 7 feet of snow are now barren. This is really bad. I'm serious. Like, we're going to have to watch this because the water supply, the dryness, the fires, all of that, we are going to be moving towards that. So we're getting into spring severe weather season. That's going to be a big headline over and over. We're 88 days from the start of hurricane season, and any hurricane activity we might get, people will be talking about that. But all while that's happening, this problem is going to be sneaking in and getting worse and worse and worse. And these posts here from Ben, another this is very prescient, as they say, when cold conditions return to the east later this month, which, by the way, thumbs down for that. I thought we were done, but apparently not. The west will probably turn very warm, possibly summer-like, and then that word right there, dry. And then this is also so very important. There's no significant relief on the horizon for the drought-stricken Intermountain West as fire season approaches. Not good news at all. And this is a big weather story that will be developing slowly. And you can see the deep trough, that longitudinal trough coming back. CJ, dadgummit. So
it's coming.
Low pressure in the upper atmosphere, high pressure in the upper atmosphere out here. There you go. And we're probably going to see some sizzling temperatures. Arizona, California, get ready for them to make the national high coming up down the road a piece. And again, another just terrific animation here from our friend Ben Knoll. All right, so at the bottom of the hour, I think we're doing pretty good. Let's get into it.
We are.
Severe storm time. And I modified the graphic just a little bit to make today's thumbnail. Put the little yellow alert thing as the YouTubers typically do, because it is important. We do want your attention because we want to try to teach you some stuff, and maybe we learn something in the process. So, CJ, without further ado, this is more your realm than mine. Take it away, sir.
Mark, we've got quite the potent setup over the next couple of days. Today, the National Weather Service this morning went ahead and updated that day one risk to an enhanced over portions of the Texas Panhandle and Western Oklahoma. And actually, if you look at the different risk levels we have today, not just categorical, we actually have one of the first day one, with a significant tornado risk. And this, remember, this is all part of that new...
the new rolling out of it.
That new rolling setup, which, just to give you a brief idea as to what this means, what it means is that first level means that your reasonable maximum intensity is going to be about an EF2.
Right.
So that's what, what they are. It's decoupling that probability of anything happening to the intensity, the probable intensity. So we can ignore that for now, but we're looking at possibility for some isolated, stronger tornadoes there and across that area. Not to mention the fact that we're going to have higher probabilities for high wind and hail, especially with some of these cells this afternoon.
30%. Man, wish I could go out there for that. Hail, of course, is.
Yeah, I'm going to have some FOMO.
Wow. Yeah,
we're going to have some FOMO over the next couple of days, but hey, it's early.
Yeah,
so we're going to have plenty of opportunities as the season continues to go on. But right now, what I really want to focus on is that enhanced risk area where you're going to actually have a surface dry line today. Daytime heating is going to be all right. You're looking at ML Cape around 1,000 to 1,500 joules per kilogram. So what does that mean for everybody else? Moderate instability, enough. You're going to have convective temperatures being reached by 21 to 23 Z. Excuse me.
The lozenges, right?
Yeah, sorry. The other issue is that we're definitely going to have enough deep layer shear. Wow. Shear. Yeah. So around 40 knots of that. So what that's going to mean is that we're going to have supported, for supercells with an associated threat for large to very large hail, and initially, which they're talking about potentially up to 2 to 3 inches in diameter.
Right.
But through the evening, you're going to have that low level jet start cranking, and then, potentially a couple of tornadoes before it grows upscale into a intense cluster.
So look at the low level winds there. You see screaming across southwest. Through Texas, through Oklahoma there, and we switch over to the high-resolution modeling. Jump over to the HRRR, jump down to the South Central, and I would go out to 18 hours, so that'll work. And unlike what we saw yesterday, where there was a smattering of existing convection through here.
There won't be.
There we go. That's not the case today. We don't have a bunch of stuff there. And so the sunshine will do its thing, the insolation, as we call it, and then boom, there they erupt. Wow.
Yep. Am I hearing rain?
Yeah, something's playing.
Oh, that one right there.
There we go.
Gotcha.
Sorry. So later today, the storms erupt. This is freaking dark. And remember, this is different. So this is 7 p.m. this evening, and let's pick an area. What do you think? Like Pampa? Hey Siri, what's the sunset time in Pampa, Texas? I just want to get an idea.
Oh, I got you. Okay, I thought you were going to do a sounding.
Sunset will be at 6:43 p.m.
Wow.
So sun's going to go down at 6:43. It's going to be pretty much dark when we get what's called initialization, unless it starts earlier, which we'll see.
Maybe.
But then. So this is right about dark. This is an hour after dark.
Yep.
2 hours after dark. That's the part about this that I don't like from so many different perspectives. What in the world? And of course, people that live out there, they're going to have to deal with this. The chasers are going to have to deal with this. This is not the May flavor. That's what we were talking about yesterday. So all severe weather is not created equal.
Nope.
So then
do pay attention how that kind of congeals into a line somewhere along the 35 corridor between the OKC Metro and Wichita as it pushes off to the northeast.
Right. So that carries us through today, and some storms south and west of there, another small line even further south than that. But we're talking about the overnight hours. And once you get into May and June, when you see 001Z, you still got some daylight out there.
Yep.
This time of year, not even close. It is dark.
Yep.
So that's going to be something to take into consideration. Anything else you want me to show from tidbits at the moment?
Not for today. We can go into tomorrow, though.
Yeah. So let's just jump ahead to the outlook for tomorrow.
So tomorrow is definitely, Mark, looking to be the bigger day. You're going to have that strong upper level system over the desert Southwest. You're going to have a jet streak that's going to eject into the Central Plains. This is a very, very textbook setup. High dew points in the lower to mid 60s from the Southern Plains into the eastern part of the Central Plains in the lower Missouri Valley. I mean, you're going to have a decent warm sector there, and a dry line will sharpen over west central Oklahoma. So convective initiation, they're thinking, is going to be expected along a north to south corridor from northeast Kansas, southwestward along the I-35 corridor into central Oklahoma. And they actually say it in here, a significant severe weather event appears likely across the southern and central plains. Where was it? Additional more isolated storms are expected to form near the Red River, southward across north central Texas and into the Texas Hill Country. So this is not just, an issue there. And why are we expecting a severe weather outbreak or some kind of severe weather event? Well, a 70 to 90 knot mid-level jet is what's going to be responsible. And the latest forecast from the Euro actually have it coming through west central Kansas, further to the south and east, and that will make it more favorable for a severe weather event across Oklahoma, Kansas, and Missouri. I mean, you're looking at 40 to 50 knots of shear, and lapse rates, Mark, from the 700 to 500 millibar level. You're looking at Celsius per kilometer. I mean,
sure.
And then in the early evening, storm relative helicity, thinking 300 to 450 range. I mean, it's going to be a longer day as we get into this. Now, in terms of the thermodynamics, what's going on with the heating, they don't really talk about it, but they definitely talk about it as you get down into the Texas Hill Country. They should have a potential for tornadoes in north central Texas, where the shear will be stronger, but they're expecting mainly large hail. And I want to make certain that within that enhanced risk area, you're looking at 2-inch plus, even around 3 inches with the most intense supercells. So these are going to be intense. They're going to be, longer lasting. So to answer, I think somebody asked earlier,
our friend from the UK about
could we see a moderate tomorrow? I think it's possible. Really, you won't know until the morning of if ingredients set up correctly. Everything's about timing as well as if ingredients are set up correctly.
And remember, the moderate,
I think there's a chance
tornado
tomorrow.
You can have a moderate risk because of wind or giant hail or tornadoes or all three.
Exactly. Right. There is a moderate risk where I think that'll be put is in the southern end of that, over southeast Kansas, western Missouri, and like central western or central to north.
So you're thinking something like this area right in here would be a moderate if you had to guess?
Something like that. Right. If I had to guess.
We'll know about tomorrow's show, that's for sure.
Yeah, and tomorrow's going to be interesting. A lot of people are going to be really, really paying attention to this. You have not insignificant population centers that are in the path of this, like Kansas City, Wichita, Topeka, Oklahoma City, even northwestern Arkansas, so definitely something to pay attention to in those areas. And then in north central Texas, you have areas like the DFW Metroplex, etc. So
I know we talk about a lot that models are not forecasts, but man, it just intrigues me. We talk about this each severe weather season. I just looked at the HER while you were talking. Now this is a 3 kilometer NAM. These are your convectively allowing models, high resolution models, and they both they kind of show diddly squat. Like
tomorrow,
there's a thin little line. Okay, a little bit of stuff here in northern Missouri. This is overnight, tomorrow night. Now we're talking about tomorrow. That just doesn't match up with what we're seeing. So why? Why do we have to wait until tomorrow? Is it because of climatology?
A lot of these features it's most, Greg will tell you this, really lead to these blockbuster days. They're mesoscale features that you will see, and some of them are even on the micro or storm scale, pick out until you're doing analysis after the fact.
Right.
So it's going to depend on when does the convection from tonight clear out? Does it leave behind any outflow boundaries that could influence where the storms initiate? Is the air mass going to be too stable because is the trough going to eject
here? So exactly to your point there, this is the stuff coming through today. And you see all of this storm activity. The atmosphere gets worked over. You could leave some boundaries behind. You could
Yep.
make the atmosphere more stable. This is now, basically, let's just move it out. That is 7 o'clock tomorrow morning that the precip, it could be cloudy through here.
It could.
Yeah.
So
Now, the rest of it does stretch down to here, and that's a different
Right.
region of the area, but a lot of factors.
Yep. It's like baking a cake. If you don't get that, recipe just right, it's not going to taste like your grandma used to make.
But I do find it interesting that even the her here, picking up the low, little surface low, there's obviously a boundary right there.
So there is Lee cyclogenesis place. This is a very classic plane setup. All else being equal in terms of your kinematic, the overall area. But what's interesting here, look at how diffuse that dry line is over southern Oklahoma. So typically you want to see a more concentrated dry. Gets into Oklahoma, you might see the Arctic front off to the back. I'm wondering if you're going to have the cold front start to overrun the
I've seen people asking about that.
And again, there's numerous fail modes, folks. This isn't a given. There are fail modes for every single forecast. And one of those fail modes is, does the cold front undercut that dry line? Is it too much forcing? There's a million things that can go wrong. So we won't know until they always, the saying goes, you never know until the fat lady sings,
Right.
And that's really what happens here.
The weather's not 100% until it's happening.
And that's why I say all the time, forecasting is one part science, one part an art, and one part an educated guess.
Well, just looking at this verbatim overnight now, tomorrow night, 63 degree dew point in southeast Kansas, 27 dew point in central Kansas.
Right.
Clearly, as we say, something is happening and something will happen. And we'll know a lot more about this when we get to tomorrow, but it's not over.
Yeah.
Then it shifts.
And then it looks on Saturday, we continuation of some of this severe threat into areas like southeastern and eastern Texas along the Gulf Coast, as well as the upper Ohio Valley. I guess you want to call it the eastern.
Pretty crazy, though,
northern Appalachia.
That Alabama, for example, no slight risk. Yeah, so I don't think that so far this year, right? Ohio,
maybe earlier on in the season, but it's been quiet this year. So, and Japan is not unhappy with that.
Right. All right, moving on out. Remember the other day we saw this popping up, and there it still is on day 6. Yesterday, of course, it was day 7.
Yep.
Right back in the heart of Tornado Alley here as we get into early next week. And we'll deal with that early next week. All right. All right. Anything you want to add to that part of the discussion before we bring in our guests for today?
Nope.
Any advice for people out there? I mean, most people out there, they know. They know the deal. But maybe somebody's new. They just might have moved to Wichita. They're going to go work for the aerospace industry out there. What 2 things could you tell them that could help them out in terms of finding good information? Because remember, we are flooded with it. So you're brand new to Wichita. You're going to work for Beechcraft or somebody. What's CJ's advice to that family?
Here's what I would do. I would have multiple ways to get warnings. So first off, you want to know what county you live in. You want to know, you want to be familiar with where you're at on a map. Next thing I would do is follow your local National Weather Service office. And you can find that out at weather.gov. They have great social media, and it's an easy way to get some information that you need, for your local area. I have a high amount, especially in the Plain States, for offices like NWS Norman, NWS Fort Worth, NWS Wichita, NWS Topeka. There's great people that staff those offices out there that know the weather. They understand.
And it's unbiased.
They're very locally biased, and they understand the, how do I want to put it? Like like how we say some areas have microclimates, they understand their regions. And that's more important than somebody who is focused nationally. And number 4, follow your local weatherman. Follow your local weatherman. KSN News there in Wichita's really, you have legends in Oklahoma City, like the late great Gary Morgan, no relation, so no, not hyping him up. But Damon Lane there in Oklahoma City, there are some great meteorologists there that are on TV that know that market, that know what people need to know. They cut out all the BS and just give it to you straight.
Well, good advice, CJ. It is time now. You put these cool graphics together. Let's show it. It is checking in with Jen time.
Woohoo!
Let's bring our good friend Jen Naramore into the mix. And to do that, we will get rid of this. And do we have a checking in with Jen background? I can't remember.
We do.
We do? Cool.
It's blurred, but yeah, it's the same thing, but blurred.
Right.
Very
yes,
cool.
If I go like that, you'll see it's kind of hiding in the background for a second.
Oh,
anyway,
yep, there it is. Hi, guys. How
Jen
are
Naramore, good to see you.
Good to see you.
It is Thursday, typically when we check in, because I give you a few days to get to where you're going. So with that being said, first of all, where are you? And then we'll talk about, for especially our new viewers, who is Jen Naramore? So where are you?
I am in one of my happy places. As you can see, there's books galore behind me. This is awesome. I am in Knoxville, Tennessee. And Mark, I sent you a link that you can use here in just a second. But I am in Knoxville. I'm at the East Tennessee History Center. And this is an awesome place. It's also the home of the Knox County Library, also the Calvin M. McClung Historical Collection. When I came in here yesterday, guys, and I am telling you, I was like, this place is a mecca of books. And for like every county in East Tennessee, which is there's about 36, and then there's county, books for the rest of the state. Not as much in-depth information, but for East Tennessee. So we've been going behind the scenes, Zach and I, and getting everything ready for trying to find information. But I got here yesterday. When you walk into a library, CJ knows this, if they will sometimes have these vertical files of newspaper clips that they have kept. Of any place that I have visited over the past couple of years, this place had more vertical file clips than I have ever seen. It took me 3 hours to go through, take pictures, collect, and they had more than just tornadoes. They had flooding. There's been a lot of events. They did a great job. So I did that yesterday.
Good.
I also bumbled on this author from, I believe he was an emergency manager for TEMA, the Tennessee Emergency Manager. I ended up having to buy his book because why not? I need another book for my collection to carry on the road. But this one has documents of all the natural and unnatural tragedies in Tennessee.
Right.
There are tornadoes in here, guys, that I'm going to have to dig into that are not in Gruzoulis's book.
Wow.
There may have been a tornado.
About that. What do you know?
Yeah.
When we find them eventually, there's a chance.
There is a chance because, he found the majority of them, or, other people have, and he was able to collect them, but he couldn't go everywhere. So as I'm sitting here looking at this, and this book says the earliest tornado, you hear it here first, the earliest tornado that we know about in Tennessee was in 1807. Now that is earlier than what Gruzoulis has documented. I'm and this Mr. Coggins, I'm going to try to find him and see if we can have a conversation. But anyway, so I've been going down rabbit holes this morning, but I'm going to start looking at books. But the reason I had Mark pull up that page, I wanted just to bring up the only deadly tornado that we know about. Well, this may change now with the 1807, but that we know about is in Knox County, was back in the super outbreak. And it actually occurred late on April the 4th, in the overnight into April 4th. And the awful part, guys, is that it hit a trailer park and 2 infants were killed. And they were twins. They were only a month old. And it was just so awful.
Heartbreaking. It really is.
It was so terrible. Now, I went down a tremendous amount of rabbit holes for this one to try to find the exact location of the mobile home park, because currently it is a landfill off of Rutledge Pike.
Oh, wow.
But I was able to do some digging. I made a bunch of phone calls to different people. I tell the whole story here in this summary, and this is a free summary on our website, and you can read through what we came up with this tornado. But I was able to find out where the location exactly is, and it clipped the zoo as well that night. But it was just so tragic. Especially when you see that some of the damaged photos of the mobile home that was hit, it was just so awful. It was such a long day of tornadoes, of violence, of F4s and F5s, and that's the location there. Tabitha and Edwin Jr., they were only a month old. So, but as far as we know, that's the only tragic, deadly tornado, unless I start finding something here in 1807.
Wow, yeah.
Because according to this book, this 1807 tornado caused fish to rain down on Knoxville.
So it's one of those. Okay.
One of those type of a deals, but it went through
Hit
several
some water.
counties.
Right.
It started in Roane County and then headed east. So it could have been one of those where Gruzulis talks about a tornado family, or it could have been a mix of microbursts and tornadoes embedded. I don't know how much information I'm going to find, but hey, I'm going to be looking because I can't help myself. I'm like Miss Rabbit Hole. But it has been a great, just a bunch of history. And I started yesterday here, and I'll be coming every day, probably through maybe Saturday or Sunday. And just there's so much I won't be able to get through it all. So, and then I get to go and take it and try to figure out what I'm going to do with all this stuff.
Right. Well, if you haven't figured it out by now, Jen Naramore runs tornadotalk.com. She is now. So CJ was telling me like you're an official part of Weather Brains or something.
I am. I'm an official panelist. I started in 2020.
Nice.
And I joined up. And Bill Murray said, "Do you want to come on and be one of our panelists?" So yeah, I've been doing that since 2020, and I officially do the email segment at the end. I do This Week in Tornado History.
There you go.
I help John Gordon, who's now been really doing a lot of the booking for our guests. I kind of help him out, and I'm on the task of trying to find people to be on a June show about the Topeka 1966 tornado.
All right.
Because we've got a big anniversary this year, so we're going to see if we can get some folks to come on to talk about that. We had Bill Curtis on a couple of years ago who did that, for God's sake, take coverage on that.
Right.
So we'll pull that out.
The Bill Curtis.
The Bill Curtis.
Right.
Yes, that is amazing.
And that's why he did that soundbite for "It's kind of a big deal" or "They're kind of a big deal" or whatever.
That's right. Exactly. Yeah. We got him. James asked him to do it, and he did.
Right.
It was so awesome.
Awesome.
But yeah, Weather Brains, and of course I'm a radio broadcaster and all that fun. So
and you come on our show once a week to talk about your work, which is, we hope you get to finish it one day, but you're gonna have to win the Powerball and hire a whole bunch of helpers to do that, because as we were talking about earlier, and seriously, tornadoes have taken a lot of lives over the period since our nation has been here, and even before that, digging into. I think CJ's definitely having internet issues. It's not me. Ooh, I thought it was my end. He's the one that keeps it.
No, that was me. I'm having dog problems, not internet problems.
Bro. The dog's chewing on your Ethernet cable. That's what it is.
Exactly.
Anyway, but some 22,000 lives have been lost, at least through tornadoes, and hurricanes get the headlines, it seems, for most historical perspective in terms of weather. A few floods do. The Johnstown flood comes to mind, and then there was one out west, the name escapes me, but tornadoes, very, very visually attractive to people to watch, right? They gain a lot of eyeballs, but we forget, not on purpose, that they do take lives. And so your work to chronicle that and to not let that be forgotten. You've got the memorial, you work through all these libraries and so forth. It's truly like you should get a PhD after you're done with this, because this is good stuff. Then you can be Dr. Jen Naramore.
Dr. Jen, oh my goodness. I appreciate that, Mark. Yeah, it's a lot of work, and but man, it's rewarding.
It's meaningful, though. That's the thing.
So yeah, I had the opportunity last night to talk to an AMS group out of Wichita, Kansas, and it was really awesome to be able just to come on and tell my story. And I had a lot of people follow up with questions, and I just threw it out there. You're weather enthusiasts. If you are we have had National Weather Service folks in there, and just said, if you want to help, it is
Yeah.
a huge crowdsourcing effort. But
Yes,
you know,
it
I
is.
would love, I would love to talk to more of these AMS NWA groups. So if you're out there and you need a speaker, I would love to talk to you all about what we're doing. And it's all about word of mouth, getting
Right
this
there,
out there.
or however that works. But
Yeah,
over there,
yeah,
been there
just
more.
yeah. How can we do it? How can we spread the word? So
Right.
Right.
it's been great. But yep. And then from here, I don't know exactly where I'm going.
But the
It's I'm
symposium, I want to ask you about that at MSU.
yeah.
Mhm.
Are you on the speaker list yet, or I can't remember where we left off? And I got Paul and brain right now too, so I'm forgetting a lot of stuff.
I
Right.
am too. Yeah, it is. Everything's growing, and so everything is now attacking
Mhm.
my sinuses. But
Right.
I am on the list. Apparently, they had a record number of people sign up to try to speak, and so
Wow.
Awesome.
yeah. So I'm being reviewed, and they're just going to let me know what happens. But I'm certainly going, and I'm
Oh,
actually
that's
one
going
of
to
the.
be a selection Sunday, not just for college basketball, but for speakers at MSU. How about that?
That's right. Which is
We'll have to have a
exciting.
whole bracket thing, and Jen Moore, she's in
Yeah.
the Elite Eight. Well, I hope you do get to speak, and but either way, you're still going to go and attend, correct?
Yep, I will be there for sure.
Oh
On
yeah,
this
the stuff you're
last
going to
weekend.
learn from
Yeah.
whomever is just terrific. I was able to present at a few of those over the years and really get to know Greg Nordstrom that way, Dylan
Right.
Federico, and others who have now since graduated MSU, and some of them working for big time TV stations around the country or in the private weather industry. Have you ever been to their campus in Starkville?
I have never been. No, and I'm
Okay.
excited. I've always wanted to go to this conference, and so I'm excited to
Yeah,
be there
you're
for
in
the
for a
first
real
time.
treat. Starkville is exciting. They call
Yeah.
it Stark Vegas, and you'll know why when you get there.
That's awesome.
Stark Vegas. I'm
Yeah.
excited.
Well, very, very good. Well, can you hang out with us for a few minutes while we look at our Throwback Thursday? Because
Yeah.
it's kind of related.
Kind
do
of.
it.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Luckily, the tornado we're going to look at didn't. It just chewed up a couple of trees.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
let me jump back over to the graphics because you do have one for that, CJ, and it's a beaut. There it is, Throwback Thursday
Yeah.
on Talking Weather. Love that graphic there. I do this VR bowling, little side story, and every night it's just my escape. I love it. Oh, it's just terrific on my MetaQuest
Right.
2. And they added an alley that have 6 or 7 or 8, whatever it is. And there's different themes to the alleys, right? And they just added one called Arcade Mall or something like that. And the bowling alley is in like an old 80s mall. And I swear it looks exactly like this. Their graphics, everything with that sort of Tron grid thing with the California sky. That's what I call it, that weird sun. You did a good job, CJ, is my point. Like, this
Thanks.
looks cool. It reminds me of the 80s and throwback and all that good stuff.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
So let's take y'all back way, 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 way back to 2024 when we began our first year of the Hail Project, my brilliant idea to purposefully intercept gigantic hailstorms and stones and whatever and measure them and whatever. That's a whole story for another day. But that was the first year of it. And CJ and I find ourselves out in eastern Kansas, western Missouri. And these are just a few videos and whatnot that are sitting on my Dropbox. And we'll go through a couple of them. There's me setting up the GoPro as the severe storm was moving in. I was very excited. We had this custom-built hail guard that cost a fortune. That's what it looks like.
The aileron.
Do what?
The aileron.
Right. Yes. We weren't sure how things were going to work out. But anyway.
No, hey, it was trial and
Exactly.
error.
So I'm going to point out a couple of things. First of all, that right there is a piece of
Those things.
plexiglass hung with carabiners to protect the side windows because I was still worried about laterally moving hail,
Oh,
and
Oh, my word.
it's just a couple of idiots driving down the road trying to figure stuff out.
people would stop and look at us and go, "What the hell is this monstrosity?"
When we started moving, these things would catch air and come outward. So it looked like these flapping things.
It looked like wings, like flapping wings, and then the drag from the
Right.
hail guard. It was like we were gonna take off and just
Oh my
fly if
word.
we caught the wind the right
But it
way.
worked. It kept the windshield protected.
Yep.
We got some really big hail.
It did.
Not this day. This day was, a few marbles thrown in there, whatever. But the point was we could mount cameras all over the Tacoma, the hail guard, up top, on the side, you name it. We invested quite a bit of money through crowdfunding into some GoPro cams to show people what hail does, how it does it. We might learn something that contribute to the science. It's exciting. Not going to lie. It's really interesting. And you can see some amazing sights like that. That is hail bow. That's not a rainbow. That is hail in bright sunshine.
Hail
and as they say on like Monday Night Football, pause it, right? Pause it, freeze it right there. Look at that little doodad. Uh-oh.
Yeah.
we were trying to flip around and go after the supercell, and CJ was looking at the velocity, and he's like, Mark, I think that's a... So I'm just going to let you hear. I think the sound does translate through CJ's perspective here and what happened next.
Oh, Lord. All right, I'm rolling. GoPro's rolling.
Yep.
That is it. It didn't drop.
That has
It dropped
to be,
right
yeah.
on
It
our
was
side.
like 2 miles in front of us. Let me see what the radar's...
You had very, very subtle, low-level rotate. This was a very low-top supercell.
It's coming. It's coming.
Don't send it.
Velocity. Go to velocity.
There's the...
Go to velocity. I told you.
We need T-shirts that says that. Go to velocity.
Go to velocity. Bring up the velocity.
Oh, man.
So CJ says, follow it. Excuse me, we're studying hail, sir. Anyway.
Hey, this handed to us on a silver platter. And, Jen, it was so cool to watch the mesocyclone. And again, it wasn't anything massive. It wasn't anything huge. It was a low-topped little, almost like a kidney bean on radar, right?
Right.
Mini supercells we got there. This was by the Arbor Day outbreak. So while they were having those giant wedges in Iowa, this is what we had in northwestern Missouri, and you could look straight up into the inflow notch. I mean, it was nuts.
Wow.
It passed right over top of us on I-29. It was gorgeous.
Go after
That's
it.
Cool.
So
we did.
We went after it, and we got it.
There was a tornado that dropped out of it. A very small, maybe. I don't even think they ended up finding a damage path. I mean, we know it was on the ground. We saw
there
it.
It is.
Yeah,
and we ran into a guy with like a volunteer firefighter out there that said it did chew up some of the trees.
Yeah.
There it is. We accidentally saw a tornado in Missouri.
And Mark, that was the first time you'd actually seen one in the wild in how many years?
20 years exactly, pretty much.
Yeah, it would have been 20 years.
Wow.
Yeah. Because we laugh because Mark, we happened to forecast right. There were no chasers around because everybody was in Iowa.
Right.
So we had the cell all to ourselves. It was gorgeous. Mark, do you have that final photo that I had?
Let's see.
By any chance, when we were standing up on this hill.
Oh, sorry.
And it is just so pretty. We could watch it, go right up into the cloud like that. There's the base of the mesocyclone. And you could see the very tail end of the funnel right there.
Very low top.
Wow. You see it spinning.
Wind farms out there.
Wow.
Very pretty.
That is pretty.
The road through there.
Oh yeah, the roads are terrible.
So this is any idea what town? It's talking about Google Street View.
I don't.
What'd you say? It was like Skedaddle, Missouri or something?
Skidmore,
restaurant. Why does Dropbox lag like this? Come on, Dropbox, do better.
Trying to get through these towns.
This is the vehicle front-mounted GoPro. Maybe my internet does stink today. Maybe it is me and not CJ. But yeah, this is some of the road network that we were dealing with. I want to show you some of this.
That was horrible.
If it'll jump around for me. I got to save these to my desktop and do them locally because.
Right.
But you remember that we were like up and down and up and down, and we came up with one of the surprises.
It was some of the most undulating terrain I think I grew up in the hills and the mountains, but this was undulating, like up and down, like constant undulations.
No convergence though. We were the only ones out there. We get to see our little mini tornado in the distance. So yeah,
through the trees on Bob's Road.
Little throwback Thursday action for you guys where we accidentally saw a tornado. This is a GoPro. By the way, the healthy eating on the road, you got your combos there. There's CJ.
Yep.
There's me getting stuff ready. But we could mount cameras all over the place. Still can.
It wasn't.
All of this part of the hail guard is gone. We took this off last summer. Marcel came down to help me. It was just killing the gas mileage. And
it was horrible.
Trying to get a simpler way to protect the windshield, unlike a few people that we know. We won't name names. I don't like to bust out my windshield and just go buy a new one. It just doesn't work for me. Sorry. And so I got to protect the windshield. And I do believe I've got a couple of ideas that won't require a giant piece of aluminum to make me get 4 miles to the gallon of gas any longer. But we still have the back part of the hail guard, because this is good for mounting stuff, which we will talk about later.
Oh, yeah.
When we get to more in-depth stuff related to the upcoming, really the meat of tornado season. We're not quite there yet, but that's coming. All right. So where the hell are we? There we are. I have to stop sharing, or we're going to go back in time. I keep screwing that up. That's my joke.
I'm going back. I'm going back in time constantly. That's all I do.
Right? Exactly.
What's happening right now? I do know what's happening in the past.
That's your thing. You should be Jen Nairmore time traveler. So many people. You'll have a huge following. Because people love that. Oh, really? Yeah, it's Jen Nairmore from the past. You're literally from the past, and you're time traveling to gather stuff.
That's
right. You got to have some weird thing like that, and then you get a giant following. Anyway, the Throwback Thursdays, they can be interesting, and that one was certainly interesting one. And for those of you that have tuned into our live streams, the borderline arguments that me and CJ will have over whether or not there's a tornado. I finally threw in the towel, and this year I'm like, damn it, we'll go after the freaking tornadoes. But we have a plan, and Jen already knows. We'll unveil it.
We're still gonna monitor hail, because there's still something to learn there. I'll tell you what, that first golf ball that hit the top of that truck, that was intense.
That's what was funny too. Is CJ was still ducking. I'm like, dude, it's like when you duck for lightning.
Yeah.
Yes.
And this is how you know I live in Florida. We were in Brady, Texas, and you had these Thor bolts just raining down. And here's me.
Thor was up there.
Mark's like, get in the truck. You're gonna get struck.
Yeah.
I'm just like, it happens.
Oh, man.
And by the way, I happen to have one of the GoPros here. That's how we would do it. You clamp the sucker down. This isn't trade craft. These are readily available. The more people that do this kind of stuff, the better I look at it. I don't own a monopoly on the weather.
Video is
data. And you can clamp these to just about anything. You tighten it down with like a C-clamp deal. And it's a couple inches. You don't have like some giant, you can't put it like around a lamp post or anything. But we can fasten these to the brush guard, the grill thing, and you get some terrific low-angle shots. You can put them on tree branches or on a fence post or anything that you can get that grip on. Leave your GoPro there in 4K and capture hail. You might get real close to a tornado that's going to come by, and you just got to remember where you put the GoPro in case whatever. But the technology allows us to gather data in so many different ways. And then we turn that into presentations, charts, graphs. We still measure everything, of course. We have the scales, we have the calipers, and then hurricanes, we have the anemometers and the barometers. But the visual side of it, so many people, I mean, this is still, video is data. It can be used for social science, applied science, you name it. And maybe eventually AI will get to the point where it can look at video of hailstones and tell you exactly how big they are. Sean Waugh at NSSL is working on that with some code that he came up with his high frame rate camera that'll literally give you instantaneous hail measurements as it falls through the volume, as he calls it. Fascinating stuff. And now if Jen could just get something where she could turn around all those books and the books would just tell her all the tornado history, but that would take the fun out of it.
It would take the
Right.
fun out of it and the rabbit hole. I will tell you, I would love to get a GoPro because what I've been doing lately, and I did this when I was in Barnesville, Georgia. I don't do what I do, but I was holding my camera, I was filming while I was driving down Grove Street.
Oh,
Yeah.
nobody's
I
done that.
We've
You're the
done that.
first.
Yeah, no, nobody's ever done that. But if I had the GoPro, I could just
Right.
drive down the street slowly, and then I could take the view of I'm traveling down the path of the tornado from the past. There's something about doing that. CJ did it with me. There's being
Mhm.
there where people were and then seeing what it looks like now, 50, 60 years later, or 10 years later, whatever.
Yep.
It's pretty cool. So I think I need to figure out this whole GoPro thing in a different way.
How
So you
many
can help
more
me with
months
that
are you going to be on the road for this?
for the rest of my life.
No, that's true. I didn't know if
Yeah.
you were saying until August.
Oh,
We should
no,
figure out a way, because we have
Yeah.
so many of them, to get one to you, and then when we meet up with you for our intercept work, we'll get it back. You know, I mean, this was
Yeah.
literally crowdfunded through our Patreon, and we should do that. And send you. There's a little suction cup thing. We'll talk offline about that. We can hook you up,
Let's
and
do
it'll be a
that.
little
circle
That'd be
back.
contribution. And we can,
That would be
in fact,
awesome.
we literally have some older GoPros, and they work just fine. We're not trying to pawn off old crappy equipment on you.
No, I don't
We
need all
got
the
some
fancy stuff.
7s. We got a GoPro 7, and so here we go. Calm down, Mark. Merry Christmas, Jen. We will send you one of our GoPro 7s, and you will be able to do exactly what you were talking about.
Thank you.
Mhm.
That would be amazing. All right, let's
We've got to
talk.
figure out
That
how
would
to
be
get
fun.
it to you, since you're a nomad.
That's right. We can figure that out for sure.
We'll send it to somebody in Starkville, and when you see him at the symposium, I'll send it to Span, because he'll probably be there.
Yeah.
And we'll figure something out. Seriously,
figure
that's
it
a
out.
great
Thank you.
idea to get a visual of the path or whatever. And you can do a kind of walk and talk. And these things are real good with their stabilization, so it doesn't pick up your gait, so to speak.
Oh,
I know
that'd be-
mine
that'd
looks
be
like
awesome.
a peg leg.
Scott says
And
we
then-
need a Gen forehead cam.
Yeah. But seriously, we'll
Snap
hook
to
you up
a
with a-
headband and there you go.
Headband. Yeah, that's right. Oh, that would be cool. No, thank you so much. Oh, that's
we got a
amazing.
Hero 7 we're not using anymore, because we got 10s, 11s, and 12s and whatever.
Yeah.
And they're real simple, and you can, anyway, we'll worry about that later.
Okay.
All right. Well,
That
we covered a
works.
lot today, and
did.
it's a little bit 12 minutes after 11. This, of course, let me get the graphics thing back. Talking weather. There we are. Tomorrow, big severe weather day. And not that today isn't, but tomorrow looks like literally a bigger one with more geographic area covered.
Mhm.
Hopefully, people, do us a favor. Let's make Jen finish her job and be unemployed by
Please.
not having any more tornado deaths. If we can do that, that's the goal.
Please.
We need to fire Jen.
That's right. I'm fine with that firing. Yes,
And the way
please.
to do that is to stop dying in tornadoes. And we mean
Right.
right here. You got to be safe out there, be aware.
Exactly.
And we hope that Talking Weather helps you at least be engaged with the weather in a humorous and educational slant. It doesn't have to be all serious and, stiff upper lip all the time, but we do take it seriously. We appreciate everybody tuning in.
Right.
And I think we're done. I'm Mark in North Carolina, CJ in Florida, and Jen in Tennessee. This has been Talking Weather. I will roll the outro, and we will see you fine folks tomorrow. Thanks for watching.
See y'all.
Bye.
Bye.